Live. We are live. What's good, big dogs, big girls? What are we up to tonight? We watching some college football? Quick review says we ready. You damn right we ready. Listen, sorry if I'm clearing my throat a lot. I'm coming off of the COVID IR list. But I'm excited as ever to talk Dynasty with you guys. Kind of curious to see how far the pendulum really has swung for some of these players. We've literally had 2 games played, right? Thursday and Friday. Had 2 games played, and it feels like some of the moves on like keep trade cut and where people are valuing things and what they're trying to, do and send to go purchase guys like Xavier Worthy or Isaiah Likely. They're ready to sell the farm after 2 games of week 1. So kind of curious to see what you guys think here on some of those players. But week 1 is here, man. Football is back. I'm so excited about it. We got a whole slate tomorrow, starting at 1 o'clock. Also got my rankings on bdge.co. You can take a look at the week 1 rankings I'm working on. So right now you can see where I'm at as far as week 1 goes. We'll see what happens tomorrow as far as people getting ruled out. There's already been some, doubtfuls and guys that are currently basically not expected to play. Sounds like Russell Wilson's not going to play. T. Higgins listed as doubtful. So be interested to see what Justin Fields does in week 1. That was a narrative that, he may never see the field. Well, week 1 was all it took to get him on the field. So curious to see what you guys think there. Sold Jordan Love last night for AR-15. How? Well, what else did you add? Quick review. That's insane. He's only out for 3 to 4 weeks. So that's what the report is anyway. But that is straight up. That seems insane. That seems absolutely not possible. Oh, okay. Sent a second with Love for Anthony Richardson and a third. It's probably still a fair pivot. Now, I would probably have sent Love in a second for A-Rich before the injury. So, but I'm also a little bit higher on A-Rich than most. I think his upside is unmatched in the game, but we'll see what the injury risks are. But you got Jordan Love already injured, so. Yo, what's up, Wesley? What's good with you? We definitely need a price check on Reed. Yeah, we do. I traded Jaden Reed and Fade the Fetal, and Justin Guzman has been relentless about it since. Now, I'll say this. He looked great. It is 1 week, but that was like some of the stuff you see from him in that game was just his absolute game-breaking ability. I do watch how much the field was really trash, and I wonder how much the field conditions had to play into this, where Jaden Reed is a better athlete than, hard to believe, but better athlete than a lot of the guys out there. So he made people miss and was just running into the end zone. It felt like it was nothing. I'm personally, I wouldn't move probably too much more than currently I have him, just because I like to see a little more of a sample size of, what's his snap share is going to be. Also, what's he going to look like these few weeks without Jordan Love, and what that really looks like. So I'd say it is starting to look, though. We'll see if we can confirm this later on in the year, but starting to look like Jaden Reed is going to be the wide receiver 1 you want in Green Bay. Yeah, definitely one of the hardest to value Nico. And that's where, for me, I tend to be on the side of not getting crazy over my skis and go buying a whole bunch of Jaden Reed because he had a great game. You and Nick both Falcons fans? All right, Lucas. So, look, I'm glad you said that. I almost forgot. I'm rocking this for Nicholas. Go check out Your Idiot League Mates, the YouTube channel. We're going to be doing basically documenting the entire year. We did a redraft league together. And Nick got Kyle Pitts, and I'm really excited for him. I think he's going to be in for a really big day. Week 1, just a whole slew of great performances for him for the season. So we'll see what that has to say tomorrow. Likely tight end 7. Yeah, listen, I did a trade show earlier today, Nick. I just listen. He looked awesome. I will take nothing from Isaiah Likely. I didn't really think that we would see him be able to be that relevant while Andrews was on the field. So absolutely awesome to see for Likely. Go check out Andy Holloway from Fantasy Footballers. He put out a tweet, pretty good one, talking about how he wouldn't be too panicked on Mark Andrews and basically how he was being utilized and the coverages he was seeing when he was running certain routes. So I want to see more of a sample size for sure on Likely before we're going inside the top 10. like, listen, I just had this pulled up. I'll pull it up again. Like, just to give you clarity here. And I'm not saying the kid's not talented and he couldn't be someone that stays in the top 10, but I'm not ready to do so. Right now, here you go. Isaiah Likely is tight end 7. It's ahead of TJ Hawkinson. That's ahead of Travis Kelce. That's ahead of George Kittle. Evan Ingram. Everyone forgot about Evan Ingram. Jake Ferguson. David Njoku. Like, yo, can we – the reactionary market in Dynasty is honestly too much today. It's just fucking crazy. All right, who won? Garrett Wilson plus Marshawn Lloyd for A.J. Brown in a second. I like Garrett Wilson over A.J. Brown, but it's close. And then, like, I probably still prefer the liquid second to Marshawn Lloyd. Jay, I'd probably say it's a wash here, but if you force my hand, I'd probably lean the Garrett Wilson side. Although A.J. Brown, in a game that Jalen Hurts didn't play at his best, we can acknowledge, looks to still be A.J. fucking Brown. With Fields playing, not sure if his rushing upside outweighs Tua's high passing yards in this game. Who do you think is the start here for Fields or Tua? So I will answer a few of these. I don't want to do too much of this because you can go check out literally where I feel about every single player and every single matchup on our website, bdge.co, and check out my weekly rankings. But I will say it's close. It is close for me. With the start on short notice and just what the lack of offense I've seen out of them in the preseason in Pittsburgh, I want Tua, the passing upside he has and all the weapons he has there. Like that offense, if you kind of forget, I know it's been a while, but last year, like that offense can just open up the floodgates on people. Like that Denver game, there were so many games where it's just like, these guys are going to go for 40, 50. So I want the quarterback attached to that offense. But Fields' upside is definitely tremendous. Okay. Looking forward to you dominating the BDGE League, Adam. Aside from drafting Watson quarterback 1, the draft was awesome. Yeah, I mean, listen, you got to be weak somewhere. And it might as well be 1 with my Cleveland Browns and 2 with Watson. I got sniped on Matt Stafford going into round 4. 1 pick in front of me. I did not think Joe was going to take him. And I thought, like, if I could have got Matt Stafford instead of Henry, the draft would have been really tits. But what are you going to do? Weak somewhere. So we went with Deshaun Watson. Let's see. Okay, not a fan of trading for straight picks unless it's a ridiculous offer. Tear down and get a good pick is better in my opinion. Not sure what this is in regards to. Oh, would you trade Reed for Afkin? I got no problem liquidating for picks here. Let me put this up, Nico. So I got no problem liquidating 4 picks. Maybe. It kind of would depend on my situation, to be honest. Like, if you know how your league market is, and if you just kind of can sit on that first and second down the road, you're going to be in a position to still, be able to contend for the first 5, 6, 7 weeks of the season without Jaden Reed in your lineup. And then that first and second will be able to go buy something of consequence down the road. I'm perfectly fine with it. I mean, I will say, like, if he ends up without Jordan Love having a crazy game in week 2, though, this price might be light. So, but I'm okay liquidating even on a contender. I just think you have to have the right idea and what you're trying to do and accomplish while taking the picks and when you want to move them. Okay. Yo, in a tough situation, should I start Levis or Daniel Jones in my Superflex? Listen, buddy, I'm in a situation similar. I have to start Will Levis in my Superflex spot. Or should I just not do a quarterback? I got Eckler and Keon Coleman. All right, so generically speaking, in the large majority of leagues, it is always better, for the most part, to start a quarterback in the Superflex spot because of the scoring. That being said, context is key here. So if you could, get me the scoring format. Is it 4 point per passing touchdown? What are the projected scoring points for these quarterbacks versus the skill players? And I can kind of help you answer it. I would say, though, I would be starting Will Levis personally of this group just based on generic information. Rome or Ayuk in Dynasty? Is Rome for me, but it's close. I mean, Ayuk locking up that deal with Frisco, there might be a little bit of volatility early in his, him not being at camp and whatnot, unhappiness. But the first few weeks of the season after that, Ayuk's set to just destroy and be the wide receiver 1 long term in Frisco. So that's great. I still prefer Rome slightly, but I think it's close. Of course. Okay. Traded Pickens and Love for Herbert and 2 firsts and 1 quarterback. Man, what? See, okay. In 1 quarterback, I mean, I guess Pickens is 2 firsts is probably closer to right in 1 QB. So I don't actually play in 1 quarterback, but I literally get questions on it all the time and have helped people build some pretty crazy squads in there. I tend to lean the players over the picks in 1 quarterback, whereas in Superflex, I tend to be the opposite. Basically, the influx of the quarterback position and the scarcity of it, and especially in 12-team formats, it makes the allure and the mystery of the draft pick so much higher. Whereas in 1 quarterback, if you get to the back of the these are now 2nd-round pick players in Superflex league. So, man, the 2 first though thing is just crazy to me. I'm all aboard. I think Herbert and 2 first here. Herbert for Love plus, he's all in. Yeah, I mean, 2 firsts for Pickens. I mean, I don't know where those project, and obviously where they end up being will be interesting. But if let's say they end up being mid to early 25 first, this class in particular has a lot of really nice receivers. Obviously at the top you got Ted McMillan, and you have Luther Burden, who's a stud too. But there's going to be guys that you get in the middle part, even the later part of round 1, that are going to be really nice prospects. So 2 shots at the dartboard is nice. Okay. Yeah, appreciate it, Bargustus. The content, it's going to be fun. I'll just say that. It's going to be fun, and I'm kind of looking forward to see who's going to have downfalls. Yeah, 4 point for passing touchdown and full PPR. Yeah, I'm also leaning Levis. He has a ton of weapons this season. Yeah, I mean, with change of coaching staff, Callahan, they're expected to open this offense up. I think week 1 with what you got to go Levis to me. How do you think Jerome Ford going to do? Hey, book it. Jerome Ford is coming. No Nick Chubb, still with a, no timetable for return. Should be mid-season, they're saying. Jerome Ford's about to play really well. Jerome Ford is in a great position. He's a guy that I got a lot of times, even in redraft, best ball leagues stuff. Jerome Ford is to be had at a very reasonable price. Let's see where I got him here. I'm currently inside my top 24 and next to some names that are high upside plays. So I like Jerome Ford, not just this week, but until we see a change with Nick Chubb in offense. Okay. Best ball start 12. I love the best ball dynasty leagues. Is this best ball dynasty? I'm assuming 12 team Superflex, Achan, Bijan. Oh yeah, it is with picks. Okay. Achan and Bijan for Achan and Bijan and 225 thirds, or Kamara, Scary Terry, Zach Moss, T-Law, McCarthy, Ben Sinnott, BTJ, and a 25 second. Okay, so we got asset overload on one side. Kamara, Moss. I'm trying to just break it down by position. So you get Kamara and Moss, and then you're going to get T-Law and McCarthy. You're going to get Sinnott, BTJ, Scary Terry. And the second. This is a good best ball question. Let me ask you one more context thing. How many roster spots are total on the bench? Some of the ones I play in, there's 35 roster spots. And that basically allows you to have an absolute, continue to just pile up depth and not worry about it. Whereas some of these leagues where it's 25 roster spots, you make this big trade for the package, right? And if you do that too many times, you end up having a lot of tough roster decisions, especially when injuries start happening, because you don't want to keep zero. So that would be one thing that definitely does probably teeter my answer to this a little bit, Clan. So if you could let me know. But I'll answer this one either way, for sure. Kyle Pitts' price will be going up after week 1. All right, you heard it from Fizz. I hope you're right. I mean, I really do. I have too much Kyle Pitts exposure. I put him on a video. He's one of my most. He's like I think my most owned dynasty player as far as the tight end position goes. So I hope you're right. I think the market's going to be swinging though a lot based on how week 1 goes. Okay, 1 quarterback league traded Connor, Monty, Mixon, and Watson for Devontae Smith, Flowers, and Myers. Which side do you like? Connor, Monty, and Mixon, and Watson. Okay, for Devontae Smith, Flowers, and Myers. Man, if this is full PPR, I want the wide receiver side personally. Also, would probably depend on how many starters, but I like the wide receiver side here. Like Connor, Mixon, especially, those guys could end up being really good performers this season. But man, in Dynasty, the shelf life on that running back side is kind of grim. And Devontae Smith and Flowers are 2 guys that I would love to get more shares of. Well, with friends or not, we're going to answer it the same way. This is a good question. This is a really good question. How bold are you feeling about J-Day, man? That's, I think, the thing that you got to think about here. How bold are you feeling about J-Day? So, for me, I personally have Kyler Murray a little bit ahead, but I'm excited as hell to watch the Commanders play and see how this offense looks with Jaden. I personally still lean Kyler, though. With Marv there, him, looking probably to be a lot more healthy this season, I'm pretty damn high on Kyler Murray. And I don't think this matchup at Buffalo, this early part of the year, is anything to worry about. Okay. Got Olave, Pittman, London, Devontae Smith, Odunze, and Brian Thomas Jr. in Dynasty, 3 wide receiver, 2 flex. Should I tier up or hold in case of injuries? So right now, just roughly, you're projecting to start, let's say, London, Pittman, Devontae Smith, Olave in the flex, and then one of Odunze and Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah, I mean, hell yeah, you stay. Right? Am I wrong? No, I would be staying here for sure. Because especially with Odunze and Brian Thomas Jr., what their role is going to be and how much opportunity they're going to get consistently early on in the year is probably going to be hard to pinpoint. So, I mean, listen, it would also depend on the format too. I don't know if you're starting 9, starting 10. So, like, craftful tier-ups here I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to in that type of format, but I think you're perfectly fine here. I wouldn't be like going out of my way to tier up unless it was something that made sense. It's 7 bench spots in the league's Dynasty. Okay, Clan, listen, bro. 7 bench spots? Dude, this is easily. See, this is why I ask these context questions. I don't want to get, put on the chopping block because I told you something without the full context. Okay, let me put this back up. Look at how many pieces that is. Kamara, Scary Terry, Zach Moss, T-Law, McCarthy, Ben Sinnott, BTJ. Dude, that's 7 players right there. You got 7 bench spots? Dude, this is easily Achane, Bijan, and them thirds, man. Easily. Holy crap. That's 7 bench spots in best ball. That's going to be a very interesting league to see how people handle bye weeks and injuries because you don't want to be holding zeros. Took it over as an orphan, and Rashad Bateman was wide receiver 1. Sounds like, Clan, someone's trying to get over on you. Is it the way I'm reading it? But if that offer is in your inbox for you to get Achane and Bijan, I don't know why I can't say those 2 names together. What the hell's wrong with me? If you got that in your inbox to get those 2 players in the thirds, smash that for sure. Okay, what would be a fair price to tier down to Pittman, and who is a target? All right. So tiering down from Pittman, Chase, what's the format? Because, like, to me, that's a big deal. Like, I'll get, in some of these best ball leagues, I'm willing to get down in the muck and go pretty crusty, like down to Jacoby Myers range if I'm getting the pluses are significant. But, like, lineup start 9 or start 10, I wouldn't advise that. So, let me know what the format is, Chase. I got you, though. Traded Herbert and 3 fourths for Levis, 2 firsts, and a second and an 8-man 2 quarterback plus superflex league. Goodness. So I played in this before. A 2 quarterback plus superflex where you can start 3 quarterbacks. Wait, so you traded Herbert and 3 fourths. Like, forget the fourths here, to be completely honest with you. For Levis, 2 firsts, and a second and 8. Like, Levis is scary But getting a quarterback there as well as 2 firsts and a second, I mean, it's shallow 8-man. I mean, honestly, I could see this either way, but I'd be tempted with 3 quarterbacks and how much that's going to push quarterbacks up the board. I'd be tempted to take that Levis side. Acid trip. It would probably depend a little bit on like the scoring too. Like with 8-mans, you're starting 8 people and 3 of which are quarterbacks. That's an acid trip league. That's crazy. How do you think Rashi is going to play when Hollywood comes back? Who? I mean, Hollywood is like, if you just saw how great that offense looked, I'm not going to say Hollywood won't have some kind of a role, obviously, but Rashi is looking great. Not to mention that Travis Kelce was dwarfed as far as what his production was last week. I am not worried about Hollywood at all. At all, Bobby. I need Ford to have a game tomorrow. All right, we'll tap in, baby. Believeland, we got you. My wide receivers are Amon-Ra, Nico, Rashi, Waddle. Should I try to trade away one of them, plus Brock Purdy for a quarterback upgrade? I mean, you could. Jimothy, I like that. You could, but okay, here's the thing, right? That's only 4 receivers. Like in most formats, you're probably able to start all these guys. So worth it, possibly, but like it's got to be a pretty sweet upgrade, and I'd have to know probably who's filling in for your flex or just depth in general here. Like you just think about this. One of these guys goes down, let's just say. I mean, you never want that, knock on wood, but like let's say you traded away in this thing, in this tier up, right? Let's say you traded away Rashi and Purdy. Forget who you're getting a quarterback for the second. Now you're down to Amon-Ra, Nico, and Waddle. And let's say Waddle's, hurt or Amon-Ra gets hurt. I mean, God forbid, or something like that. Now you're trying to like undo the process you're trying to do right now and getting that tier up. So, I wouldn't be. I don't think you need to overemphasize tiering up from Purdy right now. I mean, I'm always about trying to tier up from Purdy, but not at the cost of one of these stud receivers, in my opinion. Should I make a move with Love down for 3 to 4 weeks or ride with A-Rich and Minshew? I mean, I'm always exploring it personally. Now, I mean, Minshew as the quarterback 3, like let's say you had a Stafford or a Levis even, right? Like somebody that gave me a little more confidence to get through this time, I'll probably be pretty cool, but Minshew leaves a lot to be desired in my personal opinion, especially with what I'm expecting out of this offense. I don't think you need to make a move, but I'd be willing to and trying to. Cooper Kupp and Ayuk for Amon-Ra. That's about right. I mean, that's a proper price. Like Brady, I think this is one of these questions where if you're telling me it's like lineup start 12, I'm probably leaning not sold for sure, but I'm probably leaning more on the Ayuk and the Cooper Kupp side. If you're telling me this is like a lineup start 9 league, I'll tier up to Amon-Ra. I'll tier up to get Amon-Ra for that. Let's see. Okay. Do I start Ayuk on Monday in flex, half PPR? McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Zach Moss, Keenan Coleman. I mean, well, Keenan Allen's currently questionable. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely starting Ayuk. Absolutely. Like, I mean, if your options were better than this, I could see it, but right now I'm just, no. Trust the process of the talent, man. Your thoughts on Browns versus Cowboys for fantasy purposes, Fizzle. Listen, buddy, I'm really looking forward to somebody kicking the Cowboys' ass. I just don't know if it's going to be us week 1, frankly. I would love to tell you that it's going to be a shellacking, but I'm not really all that convinced that we are going to be that great week 1. It being in Cleveland, I think, definitely helps us, but I think right now I believe the Cowboys are going to end up winning. For fantasy purposes, though, I think that I think the run game in general versus Cleveland is down, and the Cowboys they don't have much in the run game anyway. So I'd be fading the hell out of Rico and Zeke personally. I mean, you're firing up CD, you're firing up Ferguson. For Cleveland's sake, I think you play forward if you aren't, if you don't have like top 12, 15 options at the running back position, I think Ford's a guy I'm definitely looking to play. Amari Cooper's auto start. There's not too much as far as that matchup that is like guys that I'm really looking to get in my lineup. I'm waiting though. If you have a Jerry Jeudy, you're looking to do something like that. My personal advice is to wait. So I would not be trying to like put Jerry Jeudy in any lineups yet. I think what I'm really looking forward to seeing though is the rapport and what it looks like with Njoku and Watson. That's the big thing for me to watch in that game. What's up, Trip Crown? Hey, Adam. In a 12-team, half PPR start 10, what are you paying for Saquon now? First plus. I mean, I was on record, I think Mike and I both were, Mike at South Harmon, that we would pay a first for Barkley, even if that's not the right process. I think what's pretty interesting is that, like, the narratives around Barkley, there's a lot of them. But, like, you got to be worried about the red zone touches and the Jalen Hurts vulture. And I'm not saying that he's not going to have some great, touchdown games and the tush push still isn't real. But, like, come on, man. Like, this is fucking Saquon Barkley. Like, this dude is, I believe, still the most talented running back, like, player. Like, most talented overall skilled running back athlete that we've seen. So, like, if there was one that I was going to be willing to bet on aging well, I've said this for at least 3 years now, is Saquon. So I'm not actually surprised by his week 1 performance. Like, once you start paying over a first, though, for a running back, I started to give pause just because it's really out there in the market today. And I don't think buying a running back today is the most prudent move in general. So, like, if you really wanted to or needed to, sure. I don't know what the plus is, though. I think that would probably be a little bit of a factor to me. Yeah, I mean, talk about overreact. I mean, now this is the thing. Everybody does. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look at our good friends over at Keep Trade Cut, huh? Let's see what they have to say. Barkley hasn't moved a whole ton. He's still currently at running back 8, and he's in a tier with ETN behind Achane. Wow. I think that's not even crazy at all based on what I saw yesterday. Let's see. Got you, man. That's what I'm here for. Sell, read, or hold them. I mean, okay. This is just a good in general question, right? Like, you got a guy coming off of a big game. Like, there's always the thought process of selling for me. It's just the way the market works, right? Sell high, buy low type shit. But if you ask me this question, it's kind of based on the what are we getting, right? Like, just a standard first you project to be later for Jaden Reed maybe isn't necessarily something you need to do right now based on that first game you saw. I think that was probably what his like asking price was anyway. So you're not really getting much by selling per se right now for a first. You start getting past that, like someone said, a first and a second. You start paying, and it doesn't have to be just liquid picks, right? But if you start getting to like let's say it was in the same position, right? So let's say you're able to make 1-for-1s now, and someone's really over their skis for Jaden Reed. So let's see where he's at. He's currently wide receiver 30. Like, that's another based on what I saw from him. That's not crazy. So, but let's say, for example, someone was willing to send you Pittman right now. Like, I'm doing that. Like, there's certain players that I think still are tiers ahead of Reed that I would definitely make the trade for. So I think in general, there's not like a blanket answer for me on this. It would depend on my league and the league mates and what kind of offers are out there. But I'm definitely looking to potentially sell high if there's a buyer out there. What up, E? My dude. Okay, Tajay, Judy, Odunze, Jamo, or Yoshivash. Flex 2. Okay. I love this. Start sit Saturday night. All right. I don't know if it's PPR or not, Taylor. That kind of weighs in for me on Tajay, but I think I'm starting Odunze. I think I'm starting Odunze and Yoshivash right now, based on what I know. I'm holding off on putting Jamo in my lineup for now. I already said I'm holding off on Judy. So it kind of comes down to Tajay and Yoshivash based on the scoring format, I'd say. But like if it's full PPR, let me get Odunze and Yoshivash. 10 team, half PPR, super flex, 3 receivers, 2 flex. Okay. Chase, sorry. I know you had a question earlier. All right. So, and it's also 10 team. See, that's why I asked for context. Let me see if I can put this up too. There we go. All right. So, like, tear down, like, honestly, in 10 team, if I'm keeping it real, I don't, like, you want to have a really goon squad. Like, you want to have an absolute unit squad in a 10 team league. So, I'm not truly probably looking to tear down much from Pittman in a 10 team half PPR league, where we're starting 5 receivers. Let me go through it just to see if there are some targets. I have a feeling the whole Worthy thing is dead and gone. So that would have been one that I might have said before this, but I guess, like, all right. I mean, I don't know if Pickens might be someone I'm intrigued by, if that still exists, just because of the lack of pass catching weapons overall they have. If you're willing to take on some age, maybe would be a situation possibly. Like if you want to go to an Evans or like Adams. If you really wanted to get crusty, you could go like, Christian Kirk, Amari Cooper. But I'm not getting much past that, dude. Like in 10-team leagues especially, it's typically a tier up market. So unless the plus is really significant coming back, that basically makes it better than the players that are below the ones I just mentioned, I'm probably just gonna hold. Alrighty. Hi. What's good, y'all? All right. Trying to keep up with y'all's questions here. Yo, what are you looking to do as a rebuilder early on? Love off of a contender, tier down from a Burrow Caleb type. Okay. All right, so you're a rebuilder. What are you looking to do early on? And you're talking basically with the Jordan Love situation. So yeah, Jordan Love is a guy that if you're able to get a discount and buy on a rebuilding team, I'd be all about it for sure. Now, tearing down from a Burrow Caleb, yeah, for sure. I think those are, but the big thing here is I'm not going to just let somebody get away with this. Essentially, like, to me, there was already a price, like a pretty big price difference between a Burrow and a Caleb from Jordan Love. So, like, to me, the plus has to be a young, potentially ascending player that you really believe in and can, honestly, like a JSN type maybe, or I'd much prefer to get draft picks if that's something that they have. Like I think a first, honestly, is something you might be able to get done. What's a fair price to sell Devontae Adams on a 12-team rebuilder? Good question. You know what it is? I'll give you the answer that nobody likes to hear. A fair price is based on what the hell the fucking league says, because there's 11 people that you have to sell to. It's actually funny. I was just thinking about this. Like, people are like, I'm going to rebuild, but I don't want to sell low on all these players. Well, I'm not telling you to go sell low on players, but just think about this. Devontae Adams is at the absolute crescendo, highest value as far as, or scary territory as far as his age goes, right? Like, an injury to him or something detrimental, like, his value is cratering, and with his age, you'll never recover that. So, and you can't really afford to hold Devontae Adams on a rebuilder. So, I think the reality is your league mates kind of dictate that. So, how are the picks spoken for? What teams are like buying Devontae Adams really actively? And then what do they have? I think in a perfect world, I would love to just get a liquid first, a single first, and you can Devontae Adams. I'll help you pack your things. I know you want to leave Vegas anyway, so that's probably like in a Superflex league, 12 teams. A first to me is a win for you in this situation. Now, I'm not just going to take a second, but you might have to get creative because there's probably a lot of markets that right now there's not people willing to send first right now for Devontae Adams because of his age. Christian Kirk or Ayuk in flex, half point PPR. This for this week. I was going to say this is a question. Ayuk in Dynasty by a lot. This week is close. I think I'm still going to fire up. Brandon Ayuk. I don't know. There's something for me. I like having that Monday night game. I kind of like it. But Christian Kirk could be in a smash spot this week. I'm inside the top 24. it's tough. It's a tough call. Andrew is going. It's going. You're talking with each other in chat. Yes, sir. All right. One more question for you, man. I have Rice currently, but one guy said he'll give me Kyron straight 1-for-1. Okay. Do I take that? Those wide receivers earlier plus Tyreek I got for depth. Let me pull up the question here. Okay, so you have McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Zach Moss. Oh, yeah. I mean, based on what I saw from Rashi, honestly, like in the fact that he could play this whole year, you could definitely take this trade. I don't know that I'm doing it though. I'm not the highest on Kyron. I'm definitely leery of the Blake Corum draft pick, and just like I know people want to say that McVay chooses his guy, he chooses his guy, and that's true. But that guy has fluctuated and changed a lot over the time. So I think Kyron's it's still his backfield, but just really how much work is Corum going to take, and how secure is Kyron's dynasty value? I think with what I saw from Rashi, I might be good on just holding on to Rashi for now. Might be a hot take. It's okay. Willing to put it out there. My bet it's an 18 2-quarterback plus Superflex league. We start 14. Oh, yeah, that changes a fucking lot, Acid. Okay, so you traded Herbert and 3 fourths for Levis and 2 firsts. Here's the thing though, 18. All right, this changes a ton. 8 teams means like because okay, this is the way I'm thinking about this. Sorry, I'm not talking. The way I'm thinking about this is in an 18 league with 2 quarterbacks, you make it 3. Now we're at 24 even, right? So like, while that sounds crazy in theory, Levis right now is probably flirting with like quarterback 24-ish, So he's someone you definitely want to start, but an 8 team, it takes the quarterback scarcity completely out for this type of a format. Like the scarcity isn't insane anymore. It's basically equal to a 12-team Superflex league. So starting 14 players, though, is where I think I want those first. You also have Burrow, Caleb, Geno, Bryce Young, and Levis. So you have 2, 3, 4. I think I'd probably take the Levis. Oh, you already made the trade. Okay. Well, or do you have Levis and you're asking? I think I'll take Levis in the first there, especially starting 14. Starting 14 that's deep. I like that though. Thoughts on Worthy? In my opinion, scoring on an end around and a dude who had no business lining up on him. People might be overreacting. Well, I mean, Marlon got torched on that one. All right. So if you know, Marlon used to do a podcast with Jack Settleman from Snapback, and he got torched on that play. But like, I think I don't know with Worthy. What I'll say is there's definitely some overreaction, but it also to me solidified that he's somebody that they're trying to feature and plan for them pretty highly. The end around thing, I don't want to discount that too much, because this guy just getting the ball in his hands with that type of speed, that track speed, like he makes one guy miss and it's a touchdown. So I think like he was already inherently for me going to be kind of a boom or bust player. And I think early on week 1, it just happens to be the time where he's coming off that big type boom week. So what is his floor going to stabilize as? What is his workload going to be more consistently? I think will help shift the field, but like there are people out here willing to sell their soul for Xavier Worthy. So like I think the overreactionary market's just inherent in Dynasty, but I don't want to dismiss his game-breaking ability at the same time. Watson equals quarterback 1. Talk to him, Johnny. I am indeed. I'm stoked. Best time of the year, football and hunting season soon. Attaboy. Are the Dynasty rankings getting updated every week? Yeah, so how it's going to work is 801 Playboy, good question. So I'm doing on the website, the weekly rankings right now are something that in season I'm going to be focusing a lot on. But when I go to do that every single week, changing from week 1 to week 2, right? So that'll be like on Tuesday when it updates, the big update there. Then I will also go over to the Dynasty rankings and make sure and tinker with those as well. In Dynasty in general, the movements won't be as severe, and there's going to be some times where even coming off like a big week, right? I don't move a player very much in Dynasty rankings. They're going to be a little more, they're not going to be quite as fluid, but I will be updating them weekly, yes. How do I get you to review my team? Good question. I'll tell you what. I was going to talk to Nick this week, but RIP, I had COVID. I'm going to talk to Nick this coming up week when I get into New York Tuesday. I've been working on some stuff with him to kind of get this process rolling. So 801 Playboy, if you could, I think it's send an email to dynasty@bdge.co, I think it is. Or just make sure you put a comment in the actual video. So once this live post, not a live chat comment, put a comment into the actual chat of this video once it's finished, saying you want to review. And as soon as we kind of have that finalized, I'll get in touch with you. All right. Anybody else too, if you want, I will. Same thing goes for you. What about a third and Reed for Nico? Already have Diggs, but I'm planning to sell, especially if I buy Collins. I think a third and Reed is pretty palatable for Nico. I think if you can actually get that done, because someone's really high on Jaden Reed, I'd probably take the Nico side there. JMO's 100% a start. Listen, I feel you. Do your thing, Johnny. I'm not there. I am not there. Drop us some Jordan Love trade ideas. Okay. Dynasty Alex. Man, that's my dog right there. What's up, Lakeland? Stand up, Lakeland, Florida. If you know, you know. Linksters. All right. Trade ideas. Well, what are we trying to do? Obviously, I'm assuming it's try to patchwork the fact that Jordan Love's not playing. There's kind of two schools of thought on this, I think, in general. Like, one, you can pay the extra price to try to stay in the same tier or go to a tier up, right? Like the question Slemo had. Let me pull it up. So the question Slemo had was, okay, you have in a rebuild, you have Jordan Love, right? And I'm sorry, in a rebuild, you have like a Caleb or a Burrow type, right? And you're able to get Jordan Love off the injury and get a big plus. So basically, in this scenario, that's the one school of thought, which is you're going to pay the extra, so probably like a first or something pretty significant to go just get off of the injury and what he may or may not be when he comes back from the injury to get into that higher tier. Or like, and this is one of the things that I think it depends on the format, but for me in best ball leagues or deeper formats where you're starting 12, 13, one of the things people don't love to do, speaking of Jordan Love, is see him get hurt and then trade into a more uncertain tier, let's call it, okay? But I think in a lot of times in Dynasty, in the more in the deeper formats where you're starting more players or you're in a best ball league, that type of move has been the big payoff for me. So if it's a best ball league or we're starting, like I'm telling you, at least 12 players here, I think the play is probably to, can you tier down now? Can you get someone to pay up, even with the injury, for Jordan Love that's a rebuilder, and take off of their hands, like Matthew Stafford? Can you take off of their hands, like, will they give you Dak Prescott? Maybe you have to pay up for Dak Prescott because of the age, but like there's probably, I think Jordan Love for Dak straight up already was close, but if you're looking at a team that you can see Dak's on more of a rebuilder, that's probably your target in general. It's going to be closer to the vest as far as what you're going to pay as a plus. But I think in general, if you're more of like a shallow league now, let's say lineup start 9, start 10, this is what's tough, man. Superflex is it basically in those formats, the quarterbacks are king, and having the elite ones, a guy like Jordan Love, who was really good last year and you're projecting to be better this year, it's tough because most people aren't going to budge off of, the Kylers, the A-Riches, the Burrows, even the Jaden Daniels. So I think sorry, I got the wrong question up here, but yeah, I think the play for me, Dynasty Alex, depends on the format. But if you're able to tier up and kind of just move off of Jordan Love and kind of he had some uncertainty anyway, let's call it what it is, and get into a tier of like Kyler Murray or Joe Burrow or Caleb Williams, I think that's something that's probably worth paying up for. Like even, if it's a first, it kind of does suck, but I think that's probably just for the security, something that does make sense. Now, I think riskier plays are A-Rich and Jaden Daniels, but have huge payoff as well. Adams probably has about 2 to 3 potential buyers in your league, maybe. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Mr. B. Like, honestly, this is one of those things that the macro dynamics and the micro dynamics are so different across leagues. And you're in a position, if you're rebuilding with Adams, you got to move him. And right now is probably going to be closer to the peak point of him. Now, maybe you can find a time where he's coming off a great game where he's, he's always a target hog. Let's say he gets like 13 targets, over 100 yards and a touchdown, looking phenomenal. Maybe that's a little bit better of a time to sell. But I think, again, a first is like what I'm seeking, and you may not be able to get it, though. Where do I draw the line? Starting fields this week. So I'm a Browns fan. I don't start Steelers ever. No, I'm kidding. But I have him. He was easily the biggest mover today when I updated the rankings for weekly today. I mean, to me, he sneaks inside the top 20. Like, he just has to with his rushing ability. And I think about that offense, right? Kind of struggled a little bit in the preseason, so I don't know that there's crazy upside from the passing perspective. But this is a guy that in general, when the offense isn't, when his first read, second read isn't there, loves to take off and run. And this offensive line is a lot better. So I could see Fields having, and you don't need me to tell you, some crazy rushing upside in this game. But I do have him just inside the top 20, Mr. B. Yeah, I forgot the 49ers at home. Yeah, I'll fire up Ayuk. Yeah, for sure. Listen, man, just don't get too cute with it. Fire up Ayuk. I get it, but don't do it to yourself. Don't do it. Josh Palmer, J-Mo, or Yoshivash. Oh, Eric, you still here? This could be a little preview for you tomorrow. J-Mo, Yoshivash, Palmer. I'll tell you what, Heavy. I think week one I'm gonna fuck around and find out with Josh Palmer. I've been kind of curious to see what this passing game looks like in general, but he's been someone that's been with Herbert for a minute now, and I think that he's going to be a sneaky little play. So I'm going to go with Palmer. All right, how do I get out of taking trades via text? How do I get out of talking trades via text? My league mates seem to always be willing to agree to terms over text, but then sit on an offer and change their mind when it's a sleeper. No, I mean, listen, this ain't nothing. This is nothing about you personally, Chase. This is just people in general, right? They talk, but when it's time to put the trade through, you get a little cold feet, whatever. I think, I mean, so just to give you context for me, like, because I'm, making content now and talking about Dynasty all the time, dude, it is as hard as it's ever been for me to get a trade done. People just, even if I'm sending them an offer, which in 3 weeks from now, if I could guarantee is going to be better for them, it doesn't matter. They just think I have some kind of angle, and it's hard for me to get trades done in general now. So one of the things I have, I shouldn't be giving my tips away, but one of the things I would suggest to you here is, like, all that stuff in chat, especially with people that are kind of showing you the same signs over and over, wasting your time, whatever. When the deals are being discussed, just kind of, almost lean into the opposite side for what they're doing to you. Like, all right, well, I can maybe do that. Why don't you go ahead and send it over and I'll put it through. Something like that. And just make sure, like, basically take out a lot of that wishy-washy stuff. You're probably being the aggressor here and you're trying to get a trade done, and they're just a little more passive on taking the deal. So I think you got to get them to send you the offer. And basically, if those offers that are coming in are not anywhere near palatable for you, you're probably not close to a deal anyway. But that's what I would suggest. Make them send the offer to you. Thanks, man. I agree. Took Levis with the first. Raiders fan. Fuck the Chargers. Just wanted to hear an opinion on my haul. Yeah, I mean, you had me tripping like I was on acid with the differences in leagues. But I think of that format. Yep, with you. Tear down in tight end. Kittle shipped a first and Pat Freiermuth. 1 quarterback PPR. Okay, so you went from Kittle to Pat Freiermuth in a first. I think in a 1 quarterback PPR, so if there's not a tight end premium, I'll admit, to me, Pat Freiermuth is definitely a much scarier range than is Kittle, but I'm looking to liquidate the tight end position for value anyway. So that's a deal that I love. I mean, I don't even know. Even if you got the tight end premium to be really crazy, I probably still would take Pat Freiermuth in the first. How long do you think Fields will keep starting? I mean, I'll tell you what I'm not as a fortune teller, because I don't know how serious Russ's injury is. I do know Russ, if you look at it, he's rarely missed time. And I know he's just the way he is. He's trying to play. So for them to say that like he's not going to play week 1, it's got to be something decent. But let's even say he was able to go week 2. I think a lot of it's going to depend on how Fields does. Like, this is one of those kind of lottery tickets, right? If Fields goes out there and plays really well, low turnovers, no turnovers, and leads this team to a victory and some pretty nice long drives, even if they don't end up in touchdowns where you're, getting field goals and sustaining first downs and the offense looks competent. Like, he's their long-term play if in a vacuum. So if he's doing it now, it might be hard to pivot away from him. So I think he has the opportunity to really I'm not going to say put a stranglehold or like guarantee that he's a starter, but I think he has an opportunity to really show that he can be the starter now. That being said, if he goes out there and struggles, man, right? Like, Tomlin is a very old school football coach, right? And the way he wants to play is, very old school. Control the clock, win time of possession, turnovers low. So, but if Fields is out there taking sacks and has 2 to 3 turnovers, I think it could be just as quickly an indictment for him. So while we've been thinking about Fields being this long-term solution, if Russ struggles, this thing has flipped on its head where if Fields really struggles in week 1, it could be very interesting for his upside view in Dynasty. Okay. How worried are you about Pitt's hamstring? Would you regret trading for him? Would you regret trading him for Waddle? I don't know who this is. New phone, who this? Tunchi, I don't regret it. No. I'm rocking the damn jersey. And you know how worried I am about it? Not at all. I mean, like, I have soft tissue injuries I never like this time of year. And he's a guy that's been kind of injury plagued. So, but I don't know if you've seen the injury history for Jalen Waddle, but that's what I'll leave you with. Kyle, thoughts on Bowers this week? It's either him or Taysom Hill this week for me. I'll play Bowers in that situation this week. I think right now, if I had a more certain option at tight end, I'd wait and see with Brock Bowers. Like, I'm not overly overlocked this week, but I do have him like as a low end tight end one. So like it's not that close for me here with Taysom personally. Yes, sir. My guy Andrew. I am. Listen, I did not want to miss last week, but COVID came. We conquered though. We're here. We're bike. See you next week. Now I'll be back. Don't you fucking worry. I know you probably don't want me there, but I'm gonna be there. All right. To be fair, Waddle said, Mr. B, will you tell him? Will you tell him? Tunchi. Fake ass Tunchi, man. Love you, buddy. I have 6 first. Best time to buy my elite. AB2 projected. I'm saying this as you got projected 102 and need an elite wide receiver as well. Maybe try typing that one out again. It could just be me, but I'm having a hard time piecing together the typos. At least for now. We're pushing up on an hour. I'm actually through the comments. If I miss one, let me know. Re-put it in here. Oh, wait, I think I saw. Nope, never mind. We're good. We are caught up. Damn, that's nice. Feels good to be caught up. Quarterback. My man. Drinking a Red Bull right now. I've been off the caffeine kick while recovering. It's kind of nice to have one back. I'm ready to be back. All right. So quarterback is what you put as a correction. Best time to buy you need an elite quarterback as well. I mean, well, the thing about having first in general and like leveraging is when you stack up first, I look at it as like a diamond, right? You have a small diamond, but if you piece one together and it's now a bigger one-size diamond, that's kind of how picks work. And the bigger it is, like if you are throwing an offer to somebody with 6 first, like literally 6 first in an offer, there's nothing you can't ask for, right? That's not how it works with players, though, right? That's one of the things about it. You can't just pile up Jaden Reed and those guys, JSN types in a shallow format and go get Mahomes or Allen. Like that's the difference. That's one of the big differences with picks. So when is the best time? I mean, how bad do you need him? Like you say, you need an elite quarterback as well. Like if you get an elite quarterback on your roster currently today, and you can just project to just set it and forget it with him. I mean, I don't know. There's a wrong time to do that, and that's one of the like cornerstone pieces in Superflex that just makes sense. So time could be right now, and I think if you're able to go get like if you can send 4 firsts or 3 firsts and get a rock solid like elite quarterback option, if that's on the table, or if you have to tier up, let's say you have to package another quarterback that you have on your team with 2 firsts or whatever, I'd be willing to try to get that done anytime. You go for answering my comment. I got you, man. During the summer, I traded Diggs plus my second for Rice in his third. Woo, that's a boy. You out here showing out. You showing out. I mean, how many first? Like, listen, you ain't getting 2 unless there's in one quarterback. So if it's in Superflex, if you can get 2, he's gone. He just period gone. I don't. That's one of the things for me in Dynasty, and this could be wrong for some people, not the way they like to play. But the way I play is like, even on contenders, if we get to a certain point where it's just way too much Dynasty value, like I'm willing to sell most players, but especially running backs that I can piece together later. So if you get 2 firsts, he's gone. So I don't know, unless this is one quarterback, Johnny. But that's kind of crazy. If you don't want to sell for a single first, I can kind of understand it. But we get to a first plus, and you should be thinking about it. All right, I already have Josh Allen, quarterback 1, and I have Zay Flowers, Reed, and Rice. Ideally looking for a guy with season-ending injury like Love. If he was gone for a long time, and I have Penix as my quarterback 2. Okay, so you're in a position with Penix as you want to kind of pivot Penix to your quarterback 3, and you want to go buy an elite quarterback option. I mean, you already have Josh Allen. So in Superflex, if you have Josh Allen and then you pair him, I think one of the things about Allen too is, for me, like that's where I kind of will be willing to shoot my shot on what might be viewed as more risky for the upside. So can I pair him with A-Rich? Can I pair him with Jaden Daniels, Kyler Murray, and just pay up and whatever that realistically costs, as long as it's not outrageously above market? Like, can I send 2 firsts and a player a couple seconds to go get A-Rich or Kyler, something like that? Week 1 start Tua or Dak? That's a good question. I think I'm starting Dak, honestly. I'm almost positive. Yeah, I'm starting Dak. Like Dak to me, Cleveland's defense is good. So like, don't let me not crop up the one of the really good staples of our team is our defense. Really talented, but I'm not overthinking it with Dak Prescott personally. So Dak is inside the top 10 for me. What's up, big girls? Yeah. Trying to work out a deal. We all are, aren't we? All right, Jonathan Plummer. I give Ladd, Benson, T-Law 25 second for Ken Walker. Is that Brian Robinson? I'm assuming here. Yeah. Ken Walker, Brian Robinson, Dak 25 third. 1 quarterback. Okay. So you'd be giving Ladd, Benson, T-Law in 25 second. Ken Walker. How? I mean, I don't know. In 1 quarterback league, Ladd's fine, but he's not someone I'm like super worried about. I think it's like the pivot to Ken Walker is already kind of makes sense. Benson to Brian Robinson's kind of similarly. So how are you getting the second here versus the third? Got Caleb already and needing a running back 1. Oh, if you need to get a running back in your lineup, I think I'm definitely taking the Walker side. I was already leaning the Walker side from the beginning. I think in a 1 quarterback league though, Dak Prescott might have some benefit to you where you can have an opportunity to sell either Caleb or Dak if someone really needs a quarterback. So I like that side for you. I mean, the second and the third definitely kind of leans the like overall price to the T-Law side, but again, it's 1 quarterback where I'm not tripping about the picks nearly as much in 1 QB. So I'm fine getting Ken Walker there. I traded Garrett, 25 first for CD. I give up too much. Yeah. Yep, you did. For me personally. Now, I'll admit, like, there's certain formats where you just want to secure it. You're not willing to risk it because with Garrett Wilson, if he ends up not actually smashing, which everybody's locked in expecting him to do, he probably has a little bit more to fall than people want to admit. But that's just not a tier up typically. Typically, I'm not gonna say I will never make it, but that's not a tier up typically. I'm in the business of making. I mean, but CD's not gonna be had cheap, so I get it. Also, I did this deal last week: CMC, Cup, and Kelsey for AJ Brown. Reed in late 26 first thoughts. All right, CMC, Cup, Kelsey for AJ Brown. So. The mid to late 26 or Kelsey. I take the first probably still. Reed and Cup are similar, maybe lean Cup. AJ Brown. Honestly, this trade is very lateral, I'd say, as far as dynasty values go. So I'm probably okay with it in general. Either way, but just know the CMC, Cup, and Kelsey side is really putting your chips on the line right now, and the fall for all three of those guys this season, as early as this season, could be crazy. So, the flexibility obviously is way on the U side with AJ Brown, Reed in the first. All right, I got a couple more, and I'll hop out of here, big girls. If you had Tua, Kyler, T-Law, and Jaden Daniels in a 10-team 2-quarterback start 11, would you send away Tua or Daniels for Love still? Yeah, not Daniels. I would send away Tua, but I need to be getting backup less, and that's that's the thing about it in general. I'm not just giving you love. So if I'm getting backup less to help in a 10-team 2-quarterback, in a 10-team start 11, I need more players. And as you see with your quarterback room, the scarcity is not really a problem, dude. You got Tua, Kyler, T-Law, and Jaden. So if this is an opportunity for you to actually execute by having those 4 quarterbacks, I think it's absolutely something I'm willing to do. But I definitely need a plus that's probably going to get into my lineup to do it. All right, playing Taysom Hill, Conklin, or Pat Freiermuth this week. Freiermuth. Yeah, I'm playing Freiermuth. I'm not going to overthink that one. I get it with Fields, but nah. 12-team Superflex, start 11, no tight end premium. Competing against a super team: Mahomes, Burrow, CMC, A-Chain, Pacheco, Rashad, Marvin Harrison Jr., DK, Waddle, Kirk, Deontay, Watson, Shaheed, Kelsey. Thoughts on how to operate? Got 2 first and 25 and 1 and 26. I mean, I think in general. So I have a few absolutely ridiculous teams. There's not. I think I'm always looking to get a deal done and explore them. But I in this situation, you don't have to try to force something or feel like you need to keep building if something doesn't actually present itself to you. Right now, you're checking all the boxes. You know what I mean? Sometimes in this overreaction period where everybody's football's back, dopamine's crazy, everyone's real excited, best thing you can do is kind of hold patient and wait for the best opportunity to come to you, because you do have those 225 first. In general, with a team this good, this deep, it's going to be tearing up. So can you, bolster essentially, that wide receiver 1? Can you get someone that's not a rookie and more locked into elite production? Can you, get, instead of Kirk and Deontay, can you get that last flex spot or 2 higher? Because you have depth and you have a great team. You're not really looking to upgrade your quarterbacks, truthfully. The running back position, I think right now, if I was to operate somewhere in the start 11, there's more starters, so you don't want to tear away too much depth. But I think if I could find a way to get off of CMC or A-Chain or Pacheco or Rashad White, Rashad White's probably less likely unless he's coming off a huge game. But if I could try to pivot on one of those running backs to help build my treasure chest to go put it into the wide receiver position, that's probably where I would look. Just from what I'm seeing with this team off the rip. CMC is the last player I need to move from my rebuild and can't get anything back, really. What should I be looking for? Well, it's kind of what I was talking about earlier. You're kind of subject to the buyers in your league. Now, I think in general, you got to ask yourself, like, what is it? What is realistic, and like, what's your bottom dollar going to be? You got to set for yourself. And then ultimately, what are the buyers currently in your league? What do they have as far as currency goes? Sometimes you'll be in a league where they can't really send you shit because most of those players have moved their first away. So there's just like not a lot. And then their players are very old and crusty. They're leaning into, contending. So sometimes it just doesn't fit that well. I think for me, like, I'm really trying to see and toe the line, hopefully, where I need to be getting a liquid first, and in a super flex league, I'm probably looking for at least like a first and a second absolute bottom dollar. I'm probably looking for like a first and 2 seconds. But I think in general, though, a lot of people want to ask for 2 first, or, a first and a really young, exciting player. And it's like right now, CMC hasn't played yet. Like, people haven't seen CMC be him yet. So a little bit of patience. But if you can, and I would not be trying to probably tear down unless that's the only type of offer I could get. Like, I don't need to have a running back come back in my rebuild. So a first, like, if you can get a first and a JSN type, that'd be a great type deal. But I think sometimes people are asking too high on CMC without seeing him go for 30 and 40 again. Maya Dunze for Ladd and Warren? Nah. No. Don't do this. Don't do this. Paris, don't do it. Stick with Rome, man. Stick with Rome. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to end it there, all right? Stick with Rome Odunze. Don't sell light on Rome. This situation, to me, is very interesting. I'm kind of curious to see how it plays out. But regardless of that, I'm very in on Rome. You're telling me right now this is an incredibly talented wide receiver prospect. Inside a top 10 draft capital. Like, he's checking all the boxes, and the target competition, we haven't even seen that he's not going to be able to earn targets in this offense. He's attached to a really talented quarterback that they're coming in like same season for chemistry building. Rome is in a worlds different tier for me than Ladd and Jaylen Warren or any. And no, God, no, please don't do it, Paris. Appreciate the question, but don't do that to yourself. All right, big girls, I love you. I will see you back here next week at some point. Missed last week with COVID, but we'll be doing a live stream talking more Dynasty questions, checking, your temperature and prices at some point next week. Love y'all. Peace.